Hey y'all, dedicated father here. Just wanted to touch base on one thing today that it's kind of a tough subject actually. This one hits home for me. I've never mentioned before, but I have two daughters, two little girls, both separate moms, and I've dealt with it with both of them, one more than others, but than the other. But I think once again, doesn't matter, mother or father, either way of it, there's a lot of this that goes around. Us as men, we need to know that we are the ones that are supposed to be stronger and wiser, really, when it comes down to it. When you look at it, so when you start seeing one parent slandering and speaking poorly on the other, even when a lot of it's true, especially if it's to the kids, it just doesn't do any good. All we're doing is trying to have a battle, a little proxy war, and using the children as ammo, and that's not okay. I mean, we see enough proxy wars going on in the world today. I don't need to get into that, but everyone knows, I think, what I'm talking about there. But when it comes to using our kids, they're not little Ukraines. We don't need to do that. That's not okay. Um, so, biggest thing I wanted to really pitch on today is just making sure that when something's said poorly about us, whether it's to our kids, to public, I live in a small town. There's so many things I've heard about myself that I'm learning for the first time. It's like, oh, I didn't know I did that. Okay, cool, well, good to know. Or oh, I didn't know I said that, or I was that way. Everyone has their own opinions on it, but it's funny because I had a lot of them that years later actually came back to me and said, hey, Steve, why didn't you ever correct the stories? Why didn't you ever line it out? Why didn't you ever speak truth on the other one when I could have thrown shade back? And my biggest thing was, for one, you didn't ask me. You come ask me and I'll speak truth. Now, a lot of times I'll beat around a little bit. I don't want to just sit and throw a whole bunch of shade and no good comes from it. But there's no point in sitting there and trying to spitball back and forth and tear each other down. And again, doing it to the kids or in front of the kids or using the kids in that way. There's also the side of where you try to use the kid to get back at your ex and say, well, you can't have her tonight because it's not the proper time. You're going to wait another 30 minutes. Well, now it just completely interrupted with she missed her sister's softball practice or your brother's baseball game or part of it, or maybe now because of the time frame of it, it's going to mess up with dinner plans and now you're going to miss a family dinner. There's so many things that can happen, and all it does is negatively affect that child or children. So that's the biggest thing, is making sure that we are not using our children against each other. Let's not do that. We really don't need to, even in public, be slandering each other. I know that's easier said than done, but I've worked real hard the last few years to not fall into that trap, and it's been hard. Don't get me wrong. That's been a really difficult thing. Those of you who know me know what I'm talking about. It's been really difficult, but there's no good. No good comes out of it. Silence speaks so much truth. Silence tells stories without even having to tell it, because then instead of somebody coming to you and asking for you to back yourself up or you to stick up for yourself, you don't even have to. Your silence will really speak it, and they may think you're proving yourself guilty, but everything else starts unwinding, and as it unwinds, they're going to look and, all right, we got you, we see what's going on, I see you. So that's just a big thing I wanted to hit on today. Make sure that we're not slandering people. Biblically it says it's not good to. I mean, it's a sin. We don't need to be slandering, even if it's our ex. It doesn't matter. But again, in front of the children, we just don't need to do that, y'all. I pray y'all have an amazingly blessed day. Be strong, raise them right.